So Jake Paul and Mike Tyson are set to face each other on November 15th for arguably one of the biggest fights this year. Of course, if you didn't know, this Jake Paul vs Mike Tyson fight would be streamed live on the Netflix platform, and this would mark their first ever boxing event. This event actually got pushed back a couple months ago since Mike wasn't fit to fight around that time. Instead, Jake fought Mike Perry on DAZN and of course won the fight. But now the fight has been moved to November 15th and it's set to happen in a few weeks. This fight will also be a legitimate pro fight that is going to be on both their records, no exhibition, and I think 10-ounce gloves, like it's really legit. Now, as big as this fight is, there's a little bit of controversy surrounding it, especially from the boxing world. Obviously, Mike is pushing 60 years old and isn't the same Mike he was all those years ago, knocking out people and biting ears off. I mean, if we're talking about legitimate pro, Mike has been out of the ring since 2005, which is like a whole 19 years. He did have that one exhibition fight with Roy Jones Jr. in 2020, but let's be honest, that fight was more of a spar and both weren't even really trying to hurt each other. So technically, we haven't really seen Mike give it his all for literally many years. Jake, on the other hand, is a young in his prime professional boxer that has been taking the game seriously these past few years. I mean, he might not be on the level of a legitimate pro boxer that wants to be a world champion, but he's shown time and time again that he has a really good team around him and that he's really taking the sport seriously. A lot of people, especially in the combat sports world, see this as an unfair fight, and I mean, on the surface it kind of is. But business-wise, this is a smart move for Jake since this fight would give him more leverage. Now, my prediction. How do I think this fight might go? Well, to be honest, I personally feel like Jake could win by at least knockout, or at the very least decision. Now, let's be honest, I know it's Mike Tyson, but this is literally a Mike Tyson that has been way past his prime. He's literally almost the same age as Jake Paul's dad, Greg Paul. Age will play a big factor in this fight, and it has in many other fights. Jake, while not on the level of a world champion boxer, he has been training and taking the sport seriously these past couple of years, having a pretty decent resume, and has shown that he has potential in the sport if he continues. I mean, yes, he lost to Tommy Fury, but since then I feel like he's improved a little since then. Better footwork, but I feel like that's one of the only things he's really improved in. Of course, I feel like he isn't a natural heavyweight and he should really just stay at cruiserweight. His last few fights were at heavyweight, and even in the Mike Perry fight, he was fighting at like 200 pounds, and we saw that he wasn't as fast or as sharp with some of his punches. I feel like his optimum weight, in my opinion, is around 190 or even 185. Sure, he might be more powerful around 200 plus, but his speed isn't really there anymore. Power can only do so much, but once you start to gas out in the later rounds, it's all gone. However, I still feel like he'd beat Mike just because of the age that plays a factor in this fight. But let's not get it twisted. As old as Mike is, he's shown to still have some of that great power like he once had in his prime. But of course, we don't know if he could still carry that power in the later rounds, of course, considering he's a lot more older now. But the thing is, if Jake could overcome those power punches from Mike in the early rounds, then Jake could easily take the fight. Mike's only way to win this is if he can get it done earlier. I'd say 2 rounds max. A lot of people online are even saying Jake will smoke him easily and that this fight shouldn't even be happening. But I guess from a business perspective, Jake beating Mike brings him a lot more leverage toward his name. I mean, sure, he'll be hated even more than he already has, but if you didn't know, Jake literally carried himself with all that hate earlier in his boxing career, which made his name a lot bigger. So it's really a win-win for Jake business-wise, but I am low-key worried about Mike, and hopefully whatever the result is, he's fine after the fight. I want to say if he loses, it would affect his legacy, but I mean, in hindsight, it kinda wouldn't be. People might give him the benefit of the doubt saying he's old and way out of his prime, but also he did get beat up by the guy who made this song.
It's every day, bro, with the Disney Channel flow. 5 million on YouTube in 6 months, never done before.
But yeah, either way, this fight will be happening next week, and honestly, I'm kind of intrigued to see how this goes on Netflix. As ridiculous as this event is, business-wise, it's really smart, because you got Mike Tyson boxing again. Also, you got one of the biggest female rematches on the undercard, Amanda Serrano vs. Katie Taylor 2. And also the undercard looks pretty stacked as well. And on top of that, this being streamed on one of the biggest platforms, Netflix. Overall, I feel like this will arguably be one of the biggest boxing events this year, which is just crazy to think about. Whether you want to deny it or not, just looking at this whole card and the event, it's going to be talked about even by people who aren't even combat sports fans. It will definitely be a pivotal moment in the overall sport of boxing. But let me know how you guys think this Jake Paul vs. Mike Tyson fight might go. Be sure to, as always, like and subscribe and turn on the bell to never miss out on new videos. Also, a little update, I made a new channel for my piano covers called Keys with Mega. I made a lot of piano covers on this channel back in the day, and I kind of want to go back to making more of them. I did a piano cover for KSI's best song ever, Thick of It, which is out right now, so go check it out. If you like piano covers or any music related content, be sure to subscribe to that channel because I'll be posting there a lot as well. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I am Mega Shadow, signing out. Peace.